Right, 13 October 2024. And as usual, on a Sunday, I give you all the news, all the trending news from across the continent. And I want to look at what has been happening and what is trending today. So let's look at the most important stories, starting with the breaking news. There is massive developments today. And let's start with South Africa. Something massive has happened overnight. And this is the death of the former Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni. So this has been announced overnight, the passing away of former South African Finance Minister and Reserve Bank Governor, Tito Mboweni. He's passed away last night. And this is something that is just new. It's trending all across South Africa. And messages of condolences are being passed throughout the country. So Tito Mboweni was the 8th governor of the Reserve Bank of South Africa, the South Africa Reserve Bank, between July 1999 and 2009. Previously, he was the Labour Minister between 1994 and 1998, before he was appointed Finance Minister between October 2018 and August 2021. So he has passed away. And this is very, very sad. Condolences to his family. And other events have certainly taken place overnight, including, if we look at the situation that is taking place right now in South Africa, again, there is another massive development. And this is to do with the AfDB, so the Africa Development Bank of South Africa, Africa Development Bank. Here is the lady we're looking at here, Swazi Chabalala. So this is a massive event. There is a massive fight between SADC and South Africa. South Africa has refused to support the candidate who was nominated by SADC. They've told SADC to go away with their candidate, Samuel Maimbo of Zambia. They do not want him to be the AfDB president. They have categorically stated that they're going to be supporting Swazi Chabalala here. She is currently a senior vice president of the AfDB. And South Africa has said they don't care about the resolution reached in Zimbabwe, or which says that Maimbo is the candidate for SADC. So this is a massive development over here. And we're going to see SADC becoming a reg under Mnangagwa. No one takes anything that is said by SADC seriously because of Mnangagwa. Then I want to go to our main story now. And this is very, very important. General Chiwenga has made massive inroads in the war veterans. So Chiwenga is now in control of 2 of the 3 factions of the war veterans. The first faction that was previously led by Christopher Mchangwa has been snatched from Mnangagwa, and a new leader has been elected last night. So Chiwenga is now in control of 2 out of the 3 factions of the war veterans. Chiwenga well on his way to replace Mnangagwa, probably sooner than expected. So on your screen here is Kefas Ncube, or Sifas Ncube. He has taken control from Mchangwa. Mchangwa has lost the election of the war veterans. During this election, there was Ncube, Sifas Ncube, and Albert Ncube, and Matema Danda and Mchangwa contesting. Kefas Ncube got 294 votes. Albert Ncube got 90 votes. Matema Danda got 90 votes, and Mchangwa got 11 votes. So that means Kefas Ncube is now in charge of the war veterans. And the group that was going for the ED 2030 has now lost control of the war veterans. there is another smaller faction of the war veteran that is led by someone called Moffat Marashwa. And I'm not sure if this faction is in support of Mnangagwa's ED 2030, but currently as things stand, General Chiwenga now totally in control of all the security structures of the Zimbabwean government. So I'm talking here of the Zimbabwe military as it stands right now. Mnangagwa has got the support of most of the generals in the Zimbabwe military. He's got the support of the war veterans, and he's got the support of most of the structures or the junior soldiers within the Zimbabwe National Army. Chiwenga very much supported and taking control from Mnangagwa, especially with the election of Kefas Ncube here. And you know that Andreas Mathibela is also heavily opposed to the ED 2030. And Tshinga Dube, who passed away last week, the godfather of Mathibela, was heavily opposed to Mnangagwa's ED 2030. And what has happened is that the Standard newspaper is reporting that soldiers, and this is where the soldiers come in, during the burial of Tshinga Dube, they went and removed all the placards that is the ED 2030 slogan. So anyone who was holding a ED 2030 slogan, they took away their placard and made sure that there was no one who chanted a slogan that says ED 2030. And you saw last week, as I showed you, Mnangagwa was over there at Masvingo during that burial. And I said, we're not clear whether he was there to support or just to see. So last week, I gave you a big statement on what happened in Masvingo during a burial there by Tshinga. And it's clear that there is a reconfiguration within the military and security structures. So the next move is going to happen before the ZANU-PF annual People's Conference. There is going to be a move because Mnangagwa is losing control of the security structures. So the people that are not reporting to Mnangagwa on a day-to-day basis, such as the war veterans, they can openly support Chiwenga. But the question is, what about the people that are reporting to Mnangagwa? Are they deliberately lying to him, pretending that they support him because they're still in service? So remember yesterday I said that Chiwenga was isolated. People don't want to go openly in front and show themselves at the events where Chiwenga is presiding. And yet, is there a possibility that these people are actually supporting Chiwenga and Mnangagwa has lost even more security structures? What is the position of PV Spanda? What is the position of Sanyatwe? What is the position of Presidential Guard and Air Force? We're reaching a critical moment right now. As I'm explaining to you and as I've been saying, we're reaching a critical moment where people have to decide. And massive moves are going to take place. The person that moves last is going to lose. The person that moves first is going to win. So that is how it is, the way that the situation is right now. So Chiwenga doing very, very well. But the question is he able to build a team? And does he have the killer instinct to decimate the group of ED 2030 totally and once and for all? That is the question. Is he able and capable of taking over? Is he willing to get out from under Mnangagwa? Because you cannot become president in Zimbabwe while coming from underneath Mnangagwa. You have to be outside and go back as the president, as I've been saying. Then let's go to another interesting development. And this is to do with robbery in Bulawayo. So the police have denied that they are the ones who issued a statement naming 6 suspects. So police say they are not the ones who issued statement on 6 suspects. They don't know who issued that statement. They do not know what that was all about. They are not the ones that said those 6 people are being sought by Interpol. So whoever issued that statement is not the police, it's someone else. And then, obviously, we're going to be following that story. I don't believe that there was 4 million in that trunk. I don't believe that 4 million was stolen. I believe that there is a game being played there by EcoBank. So let's watch that development. And probably someone suggested there was some tax evasion taking place because what was happening there was not clear. Did the guards really count the money and find 4 million in that trunk? What does 4 million look like? Is 4 million a lot or a little? Maybe we'll ask Wiki now. But there is something odd about the robbery that took place in Bulawayo. Then, as I was saying, Magaya is broke, and the man has got no money. This man has lost everything. So a court has ruled that Getbucks can go and get Magaya Stadium. They can go and get Magaya's church and sell it to recover their money. He owes a loan of over 450,000 US dollars, and he is being forced to give up his prized possessions so that the bank can recover their money. So Magaya is going to be left with nothing but the shirt on his back very, very soon. This man has got no money, and unfortunately, he owes a lot of people money. And I do not know what he does with this money, because the amount of loans that he's got are thousands and thousands and millions that he owes a lot of people. And he does pretend to have a lot of money when he doesn't have it. So he's currently going to lose all the stuff that he owns, and they're going to see the auction taking place of his properties. Then coming to Mbare Msika. Mbare Msika caught fire last week, and the vendors are back, but they're operating from the ground. So people who were previously operating in market stores at Mbare are now operating from the ground after the market caught fire. And this means the situation is even worse than before at Mbare Msika. I don't know how this is going to be addressed, but it's a terrible situation that has taken place over there in Harare. And it's unfortunate that the Zimbabwe government is not moving quickly on this situation. There's need to move on this situation and make sure that people have got an appropriate place to operate. At the moment, they don't have anywhere to operate, and this is unhygienic. There are no toilets here, and very soon you're going to start seeing a cholera outbreak in Harare. No water. What I suggested is the Zimbabwe government should take a bigger view and have a bigger vision of what Harare should look like. So what I would do is I would draw a line. If I was in charge of Harare and government, I would draw a line from 4th Street all the way up to the industrial areas, the Highfield, and make all that area a new city. So a new city where you put skyscraper buildings, apartments, and you make it bicycle friendly. You make it people friendly. No roads in that place. That whole area, all the way up to Mbare, the Namatapi floods. Design something that is going upwards. And the way that they've done in Mozambique, I've shown you guys how it looks like in Mozambique, so that eventually that can become the richest area in Harare. And you then put markets, so that when someone is in that area, there is a bus station at 4th. You've got a big market or hub at Mbare, all that area around Mbare, building upwards, like all the stations that you see in international cities. For example, like Cape Town, people don't walk on the ground. You've got people walking at the top on flyovers, and you have a mixture of rail and road. So this vision, it needs to be taken. What is currently happening under Mnangagwa is just keeping what Smith had and what Mugabe had. He's got no ideas. And these things are very easy to implement because the rail is already there. So your rail station is already there. Your market square is already there. Your Mbare market is already there. All you need to do is to join those things and then extend all the way up to waterfalls there. So that if you've got a bike, you can just jump on your bike and you ride all the way up to the city center, the way that European cities do. You have seen how the bikes are used in those cities and how people move up above and cars are separated. Very easy. But Mnangagwa will never do it. Mnangagwa's vision is too small. Mnangagwa Arugurayavan and Zara. And you have to wait for a new president for anything to happen in Zimbabwe. That man does not know what he's doing. Then let's go to Mashaba and Shabani. This is said. I don't know where this story came from, which newspaper. I think it's from the Standard newspaper, if I'm not mistaken. This mine, Shabani Mashaba mine, it's under an administrator. And these are the houses that they have there at Mashaba and Shabani. And employees, former employees are being evicted to make way for the university students. I think it's Great Zimbabwe University and MSU, who've got campuses there. However, the employee says they've not been paid their monies and they're demanding to be paid. Unfortunately, they're losing the houses because the houses already belong to the universities. And what this means is while the assets of Shabani and Mashaba mine are being stripped, the former employees have got nothing. And Mutuma Mawere is currently here in South Africa trying to fight for these assets. He owned this mine, but unfortunately, this is how it is. And when I look at such places like Shabani and Mashaba, these are some of the places that need to be turned into planned cities. If you look at Shabani and Mashaba, all the way up to Masvingo, all the way up to Shawane, these are the places where you can create a student city or an educational city where mostly people are there for education. And you also put hotels, you put nice facilities here. This place is a mess. It's not properly utilized. And it's only like 100 kilometers. If you can make this a nice city, put your rail through Masvingo, it's going to work. But unfortunately, the planning is very poor with Mnangagwa. Then the Ideas Festival has been opened for registration. I like this festival here by Trevor Ncube, so you can go check it out. I think it's the website is in convo with Trevor. There are massive speakers here, including Dr. Nkosana Moyo, and I think Dr. Manyika is also here. So check it out. If you want to attend, you can attend these conferences. Zimbabwe conferences are extremely expensive. 1,600. One of the conferences that I was showing you last week. There's also another IZ conference that is going for $1,600 just to attend a delegate. In rands, that is close to, I think, 30,000 just for a conference. But the caliber of speakers is very high. The caliber of people that are attending these conferences is very, very high. Then let's look at entertainment before I go. I want to look at what is happening in South Africa. So in South Africa, there is a young lady called Nkosazana daughter. She is trending today because Nkosazana daughter here has sued one of the biggest channels or shows in South Africa, the Magaya show, because they accused her of having a child with Master KG instead of her boyfriend, Trill. Say Trill. So this is the trending story in South Africa. Very interesting. And I think this is going to be interesting because 18 million rands, that is what she's demanding. Nkosazana daughter, she is a child of one of the top politicians here in South Africa. And she has taken this court to say she actually doesn't appreciate being called someone who is having a child with one man while she is with another man. And so that is 13 million rands demanded from Magaya. Magaya show, the biggest show here in South Africa, once a week. They come out once a week and they get millions and millions of views every year. So this is the biggest show, and yeah. And I think you know what is happening here. Very pretty young lady in the spotlight, and the attention extremely high over here on this young lady. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. Let's recap. And in fact, let's check if the Sunday Mail newspaper is published so that I can see if there's anything there of interest to me. As I said, the biggest story today is the death of former Finance Minister of South Africa and former Reserve Bank, South Africa Reserve Bank Governor Tito Mboweni is passed away overnight, and the family has issued a statement. I'm going to put it on Gambakwe. That is the massive breaking news that has taken place overnight. And we have the Sunday Mail newspaper is published. I haven't had time to look at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit now. And then if there's anything of interest, I'll share with you whatever is there during the evening broadcast when I come here, when I come back in the evening. But let's look at the headline. So Mnangagwa is saying, harness technology, innovation for development. Country targets accelerated industrialization, modernization. All I can tell you is that Mnangagwa will never achieve anything. Let me explain to you why. Mnangagwa has got a serious problem. And the problem with Mnangagwa is he is working everything from the president's office. That is what Mnangagwa is trying to do. He's trying to make everything work from the president's office. And that will never work. Mnangagwa needs to work through a structure or a concept. There must be a development concept. At the moment, there's nothing. NDS 1, NDS 2, all those things, they're just words. Education 5.0, they're just words. What Mnangagwa needs to do is to appoint appropriate bodies to deal with the development. For example, I'm talking about high-speed rail, I'm talking about planned cities, and reimagining the whole of Zimbabwe. At the moment, Zimbabwe is too much focused on primary industries, it's too much focused on mining and agriculture. If you want your country to do well, focus on tourism, focus on financial services, focus on transport, and focus on, as I said, infrastructure. Infrastructure is a massive requirement. At the moment, what money is working in Zimbabwe is just to exchange goods. When you start building rail, when you start building roads, when you start building planned cities, and taking that steel that they're producing at Malaysia and using it in Harare to build a city on Victoria Falls, and then you start working on how to quickly connect places. Now you're talking. You need a new president to do that because Mnangagwa's vision and the time that he's got is too small. So whoever is going to be the next president of Zimbabwe is going to do very, very well. Zimbabwe is going to be the best country. And geographically, as I said, there is no country like Zimbabwe. In the whole world, in the whole of Africa, there is no country like Zimbabwe. So many minerals, so many cities, so many educational institutions, and everything. If you put a hub at Gweru, 2 hours, high-speed rail, you'll be in every place. And everything is in a straight line. If you want to solve the water problem, for example, you put the Zambezi water project, Victoria Falls, Wange, Bulawayo, Kwekwe, Gweru, Kadoma, you solve the problem one time with one pipeline. And if you want to put electricity, one pipeline. If you want to put one rail station, one high-speed rail, you hit all the cities, you put a rail at Gokwe, and you have another capital city over there. These are very simple things to do, but Mnangagwa will never do it. So that is why I'm saying you need a new president because the country's got so much opportunity. And unfortunately, Mnangagwa not able to do it. All he's thinking about are these small things, very little things that Mnangagwa is able to do. And let's see what happens. As I'm saying, today, right now as you speak, today, this very day, Chiwenga had organized a conference for Mnangagwa, and that conference is going to take place starting today at 7 a.m. You're going to see it's all about research and industrialization. But everything that I'm saying here, you won't hear it from Mnangagwa. His vision is just not there. So let's watch what happens at 7 a.m. today. These are some of the things that Mnangagwa is talking about. And unfortunately, he has also failed to work on the currency. Mnangagwa's presidency has become one of the most wasted opportunities in our country. This man has destroyed our country. Mnangagwa, we need a new president who can do better than this man. So there's a massive number of stories in the Sunday Mail newspaper, one of the best newspapers in the region. If you put newspapers side by side, I think the Sunday Mail is probably, in terms of value, one of the top 10 newspapers in the region, in our whole region of Africa. Not even talking of Southern Africa. I'm talking about the whole of Africa. In terms of value, one of the best papers. And obviously, they also have the top newspaper, H Metro. The structure is there, but they need to do better in terms of covering news that is relevant. For example, right now we saw there's a new election of war veterans. They don't cover such important news. They're too political. That is the problem with the Sunday Mail newspaper. They need to address the politics and divorce themselves from Mnangagwa and just become a newspaper. Don't become a political mouthpiece of anyone. So I think we've covered everything. Let us recap. We said General Chiwenga has made massive inroads this weekend. 2 out of the 3 factions of the war veterans are now in control or under his control with the election of Ncube yesterday, who beat Muchangwa, Danda, and another Ncube to take over as the chair of the war veterans. That makes 2 factions of the war veterans now under General Chiwenga, under the control of General Chiwenga. And I'm not sure if the 3rd faction of the war veterans is also under General Chiwenga. That is the one by Moffat Marashwa. But the fact that there are 3 factions mean that ideologically they disagree somewhere. So let's see if all the war veterans can now come under one umbrella under Chiwenga, and what happens afterwards. How is Mnangagwa going to react? Mnangagwa does not like what is happening, and he's going up against Chiwenga. How is he going to move against Chiwenga next week when we go to the ZANU-PF Annual People's Conference, which is going to take place? I think it is on the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. I will check the exact date over there. But there is going to be an attempt by Mnangagwa to slow down the advance of Chiwenga. And let's see what the people that are currently serving are going to do. Because currently, anyone who is serving doesn't want to be seen supporting Chiwenga. They are distancing themselves in public. But what is happening behind the scenes? And what is the next move? Everything is collapsing. Is Chiwenga going to move, or is Chiwenga going to wait? And what happens if he waits? And what are the other security people going to do? Because if they delay, so what is going to happen? And that is very, very important. I'm going to give you an update on Mozambique elections later on. Presidential candidate Venanzio Mondlane doing very, very well in the current election, but I'll give you the exact results later on tonight. And as I said, they've said that they cannot talk because they've been asked not to talk because of the current situation where there is disagreements over the counting. However, he has announced that if Frelimo attempts to announce themselves as the winners, he's going to call a national strike. So that is what he's going to do, because currently in the cities, he was leading. So he has been leading in the cities. Let's see what happens when the results from the raw areas come. Because the results that I was giving you, they relate to almost 25% of the districts, and the districts are being counted. However, because of language barrier, it's very difficult for us to understand what is happening. So we get information, but I'm not sure if that information is total. So sometimes I talk to people in a team and they've got their own way of interpreting what is happening. So it's very important for us to wait and see what is going to happen in Mozambique. If we have a new president in Mozambique, this is going to be very interesting. This man is a banker. He's highly respected across Mozambique. And that country, Mozambique, has got so much opportunity. We are going to have Zimbabwe sandwiched by 2 of the most biggest economies And our country is going to benefit massively from a new president, especially one who can solve the security problems in Mozambique. Mozambique, the problem there has been security since 1980. They've had massive security problems. They cannot manage to run that country. And there's a new need to create a strategy for security so that once and for all, that country does not have any factions or wars. At the moment, they've been having so many wars. All the deposits of minerals and gas, they're not being managed properly. And they're just right now only starting to work on Maputo and cities like Beira. So if a new president was to come in, Mozambique will need maybe another 30 to 40 years to fully utilize their resources. Unlike Zimbabwe, if a new president was to come in Zimbabwe, within 10 years, Zimbabwe will be a $200 billion economy, especially if we put in place high-speed rail and plant cities and make tourism a priority. And also, as I said, 2 houses for each soldier in a military-led city and in a military planned city. So these are very easy things to implement, but Mnangagwa will not do it. Mnangagwa is the problem currently in Zimbabwe. So I would like to thank all of you for watching. I'll be back here tonight, 10 minutes past 9, as I give you updates. Please go and have a look at the interview we had last night, where there was clarification on Tinashe Jonasi. I'm going to bring Tinashe Jonasi back here to explain. Tinashe Jonasi is revealing a lot of things, but his deputy has come out, and his deputy was Mr. Elias Masuku. He has come out last night and said the organization became big and was very influential within ZANU-PF. However, Tinashe Jonasi is overestimating his role in the creation of the organization that was, I think it was Assist ED, which was very influential in the campaign of ZANU-PF. He's saying Tinashe Jonasi, what he's saying about himself and the role in creating Assist ED is incorrect. And he says Tinashe Jonasi is a fake person who does not like working, and he is only doing what he's doing because he was denied money and is trying to extort all these people that he's talking about. Right? Mkoma Sticks says Gambakwe doesn't have a problem with ZANU-PF, but with ED. Right? Let's clarify that statement, Mkoma Sticks. I don't have a problem with anyone, with Chamisa, with ZANU-PF, with these people are going to be in our government. So like South Africa's got a GNU, you can't say about the problem with ANC or the problem with DA. However, Mnangagwa is a serious problem. Mnangagwa's policies are a disaster, and the man does not listen to anyone. If you ask Mnangagwa right now, have you listened to in the past 3 or 4 years? It's no one. That is the problem. And we need to fix our country, and Mnangagwa is the problem. Would I personally want a ZANU-PF government? I wouldn't want a ZANU-PF government right now. What I would want is a transitional government made up of technocrats, but with ZANU-PF still existing. You can't rule out or say ZANU-PF won't exist. So I'm looking here for a transitional government coming from now to 2035 with fresh elections in 2040. That is clear. My belief and my ideas are clear on that. You need a transitional system right now, till now, in 2035, then fresh elections in 2040. You can clearly see that people like Chamisa are also looking for a transitional system. They're not looking for a new government right now. And that is something that Chamisa has said himself. And then let's look at Mkoma Leo says, in other news, I saw Wikino in Dubai Mall. Yes, that's correct. Wikino is traveling right now, and I think we've shared that story on Gambakwe.com. And then how can the government move? Yet they are, because of that demise, it is a good idea to move. It's a good move to appoint Chiwenga as the president. No, you can't appoint Chiwenga as president. Let me explain why. So currently, before we move to a new government, we need a transitional system, but that means something big has to happen. And that is what I'm saying. Before the end of December, something big is going to happen. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Who is going to take over? There are quite a number of people lined up to take over. So we've got a big faction that is behind PV Sibanda. We've got a big faction that is behind Chiwenga. And then obviously we've got a big group that is behind Chamisa. So currently your top three people in Zimbabwe is Chamisa, PV Sibanda, and Chiwenga. However, Chamisa is not there. You've not seen Chamisa, and he's got no basis right now to just jump and become a president. So what is required now is going to be a transitional system. And how does that transitional system come into place? That is very, very important. Where is the dialogue going to come in? You can see that SADC is dead. It's totally dead. Under Mnangagwa, SADC means nothing. No one cares about SADC. South Africa ignoring anything to do with SADC, especially the AfDB. You have to understand what the region has become. Under Mnangagwa, the region has become disintegrated. And right now, Mnangagwa doesn't even know what is happening in Mozambique with the elections. But the man is out of it. And he says he's the chairman of SADC. That man is not the chairman of SADC. I think he paid for it, but he's not able to utilize it. Then Mkoba says, what happened to Bombshell? Please, I don't know what happened to Bombshell. I've got his number, but it's not on WhatsApp. It's crazy. I don't believe there's anyone in this whole world who's not on WhatsApp. But maybe we should call him, or we should call Blessed Mhlanga and find out if he can go and do another interview. You know that 2 generals almost lost their lives in the past month, and he's one of them. So let's see if he's still around. But my understanding is that he was living in the barracks, or spending most of their times, or most of the generals are spending most of their times in the barracks. I think I've said a lot. I've covered a lot here. And let's see if there's anything on the Sunday news before I go. Sunday newspaper. You guys are welcome to go and read all these newspapers. I only do this because I know that most people don't have time to collect all the news that we have around us. Okay, so in the Chronicle newspaper, we have a story that motorists are reeling under hefty fines, some of them owing up to $38,000 after their cars are impounded. So you can go and check out all this. And then police probe armed robbery at Chief Marupi's homestead. Those are the news in the Chronicle newspapers, but I'm going to collect everything for you and we'll give you the updates if there's anything that has happened that has not been covered. And then obviously we're going to go out with that condolence message on the death of Tito Mboweni, former South African finance minister and Reserve Bank governor. Condolences to his family over there. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and a good day